So I published a video the other day that actually ended up doing quite well. And it was a video about money. It was titled, "This is Beyond Evil." And what I basically said is that I believe that the absence of money, the lack of money, is actually evil, because it influences everything in your life. It influences everything in my life. And I rattled off some stats, and there's stats like the average American can't come up with $500 within 24 hours for an emergency. About 80% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. That the average individual dies with less than $10,000 and virtually no financial assets. And I could just go on and on and on and on and on. And it's probably worse now than it was before, because then the governments declared all these people non-essential. So whatever financial problems people were having before are exponentially worse now. And I thought about it, the average, the number one cause of divorce is financial reasons, and I said, that's evil. Money shouldn't ruin love. 80% of people said that they lose sleep over money problems. That's evil, right? There's so many limitations that don't allow us to experience the fullness of life that are created due to lack of money. So I proposed that idea, and then I talked about 8 things that you could do to start to change that. And I want to talk about one very specific thing that can bring more money into your life in this video, and so this is a response to some of the comments that I was seeing. Well, easy for you to, and so what I'm going to share with you in this video helped me in one very specific way. And that very specific way was my wife and I were broke. She was in credit card debt, and we just kind of said things like, at least we're happy. We both believe that finances were this type of immovable object in the world, and you're just kind of stuck that way. I said things like, the system needs to change, bro. And then my mentor taught me this very one specific thing, and it literally changed our lives forever. One of the challenges that he gave to me was to turn my annual income into my monthly income. And I thought he was ridiculous. It was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. So he said, turn your annual income into your monthly income. Why not? And I was like, my annual income into my monthly income? That's insane. That's impossible. But I had an open mind, and I tested this principles that I'm going to share with you here that are broken down into a simple and easy to implement 5-step process. And my life changed forever. And so I'm excited to share that with you. If you're looking forward to this video, I wanted to make this because there's a lot of people that are broke. And I think that we're taught finances are so complicated and so hard, and we aren't good enough, and we aren't smart enough, and Wall Street controls it. But it doesn't have to be that way. So if you enjoy this video, make sure you get my free success hypnosis. It's right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's my free success hypnosis to reprogram your subconscious mind. It's right there down below in the description and pinned to the comments right there down below. Smash the like button on this video and say, I create my financial reality, right there down below. And let's dive right into this video. I'm going to go sit down right over there, and we'll bust this out. So there's a whole bunch of comments from people saying, like, you don't understand that I'm stuck this way, kind of. And what my mentor taught me to help me turn my annual income into my monthly income is that successful people raise their income to meet their standard of living. Meanwhile, poor and middle class lower their standard of living to meet their income. Successful people raise their income to meet their standard of living. Meanwhile, poor and middle class. So it's about, we are conditioned to live in a state of reaction to finances. And so what happens is that we are constantly reacting in lower states of thinking and lower states of mind, and constantly trying to conserve and constrain, which makes sense why all the finance stuff that's so popular is like, don't buy a latte, then you'll be rich. If you save $4 worth of lattes for the next 7,412 years, you'll be richer than Jeff Bezos. It's all focused on constriction. The central theme here is successful people raise their income to meet their standard of living, meaning that successful people realize the problem is that they don't make enough money and they can control that. The problem isn't that they need to constantly constrain and pinch off a corner here or there. They have to shift their focus. But what a lot of people say in the comments is, yeah, but you don't understand. Like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And those are the people that they're always going to be broke. So step number one was when I realized that my problem was I needed to figure out how to earn more money. My problem was I didn't need a better saving technique or a better budgeting technique. The problem was I was so focused and so attached to my story about how little money I made that I thought it was my destiny. And that brings me to point number two that Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the famous personal finance book, talks about. And that's, how can I afford this? How can I afford this? So how do you raise your income to meet your standard of living instead of shrink your standard of living to fit into your little income? Well, the question is, how can I afford that? I remember one of the things that really changed my life, and I'm not recommending you do it the way that I did, was I realized that I was so comfortable in my financial limitations that I needed to bust out of them. There was a house for rent the first time I moved to Maui, and I really wanted it, but it was way too expensive, but it would be my dream house. And I decided that I would negotiate a 6-month lease instead of 12, because I was like, well, if this doesn't work out and it's 12 months, I'm going to be screwed by like the 6th or 7th month. But I'll give myself 6 months and I'll test the power of making more money and see what I can do. And so I signed up a lease on this spot for 6 months, and my income blew up to a level that it never had before and that I never thought that it could blow up to. And what happened was I didn't ask my reality to meet me at my little financial ceiling. I punched a hole in my financial ceiling and I demanded reality meet me there. And I am not telling you to go rent something that you can't afford. In fact, for most people, it's the opposite. They're trying so hard to bust out of their thinking that they do stupid stuff like that. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you have to ask yourself this question in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad: how can I afford that? And what happens is we get so used to the reactionary state of consciousness of being broke that we just say, oh, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford my dream house. I can't afford my dream car. I can't retire my wife. I can't do this. I can't do that. We don't even think about how we could do it. So one of the things that changed my life was step number 3 that I learned from my mentor, Bob Proctor, is I'm going to get a sip of coffee here. If you're still with me, comment down below. I'm with you, Jake. I'm with you, Jake. The reason I'm talking about these money videos is because I think it's something we can control. I really do. And I think a lot of people's lives and the world would change in a lot of ways if we realized we were in control of it and not Wall Street and not our past and not our education or lack thereof, that we really can control it. So the next step that really started to change my life and helped me turn my annual income into my monthly income and far beyond that, it helped me become a millionaire by the time I was 27 and a multimillionaire by the time I was 30. And I don't say that because I'm like, dude, look how cool I am, man. The only reason I say that is because I dropped out of college. I failed junior English class in high school. There's no reason that I should have the reality that I have. And you can have the exact same thing happen in your life and probably way more and probably way better. And the intention of this video is to help free people. I believe we're meant to be free and not confined to the way that the system was set up. And a lot of people want to argue, we need to change the system, and sure we do, but I would much rather take control of my financial life instead of waiting for the system to change. Because if you think the system needs to change or a certain person needs to be president or something, Wall Street needs to do this or that, If you believe that needs to happen for your financial life to get better, chances are it's never going to happen and you're always going to be broke. So the fourth step out of that was multiple sources of income. So in order to raise my standard of living to meet my income, for my income to grow rather, to meet my standard of living, I needed to develop multiple sources of income and start divorcing myself from directly trading my time for money. In the step before, I'm in one of my daughter's playrooms. This is her favorite slide right here. She loves that slide. And in the step before, we talked about how can I afford that? And it's a pattern of thinking that we have to start to develop instead of just dismissing that we can't change things. So here's what you can do, and here's what I did. My wife and I just made a list, and we wrote at the top of the list multiple sources of income, ways to make more money, and we came up with every single idea that we possibly could, focusing on solving other people's problems. Some people commented on these videos, they're like, well, I can't do it. And it's just the subconscious programming keeps coming up. And that's why I always talk about download my free success hypnosis. It's right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's my free success hypnosis to start to reprogram your subconscious mind and eliminate that old thinking, because we're all subconsciously programmed. Think about the fact that we've just inherited all this financial mediocrity from everyone around us, and it's controlling our actual thinking. So we just go, well, you don't understand. I don't know how. Just step outside of your mind, pull out a pen and pad, and write out every way that you could make more money. Some of the ways may suck, and one of those ways may be a multi-million-dollar or $1 billion idea. It's in you. You have that idea. You have that vision. You have that way to do it. Most people just, no. I'm just, cool video, but I'm going to go watch cat videos now. Doesn't really work. Fraud. So pull out a pen and pad and see what $1 million ideas come to you. And then last but not least is to program your reticular activating system in the right way. And it was a term I'd never heard of, and it sounds very bizarre, but it actually helped me make a lot more money. It actually helped me to raise my income to meet my standard of living instead of shrinking my thinking to match my literal reality. So your reticular activating system is a part of your brain that focuses on the most important things. So there's billions of bits of information happening at every single second, right? And like your gardener may be doing something and your wife may be doing something. Well, how do you focus on one thing? That's your reticular activating system. It shuts everything off and brings attention to where attention needs to go. It's kind of like, here's my thermostat right here. It's kind of like a thermostat. I set my thermostat at say 68 degrees, and then I open up all the doors, and let's say it's 20 degrees outside. Well, what happens is the thermostat kicks on to create homeostasis at the temperature that it's programmed. And your reticular activating system works in a similar way. In order to raise your income to meet your standard of living, what has to happen is you have to give your brain that command. Most people dismiss the possibility before it can happen, and so your reticular activating system controls you. So I'm going to refer to a couple of my notes here. I said the reticular activating system, also known as the RAS system of your brain, is designed to solve the problem or create the reality that you program into it, saying, it's just the way it is, money's too hard, the system's unfair, this person needs to be president, then my life will change. That programs your reticular activating system to constantly provide that proof to you. So you just get proved to yourself over and over. Yeah, I am broke. Yeah, they have rigged the system. Yeah, life is unfair. Yeah, it is too hard. Whatever your reason is why you don't have the money that you want, we all have those reasons, and they seem logical and rational and all those types of things like that, and they are. It's just the question is, are you going to allow that to control you? There's a quote by George Bernard Shaw, and he says that all progress depends on the unreasonable person. That the unreasonable person looks around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. But what the reasonable person does, the logical, the rational, the 99% of us, is we look around for the circumstances that we want. More money. You want to make more money, financial freedom, you want you want your life to change, right? There's videos about money specifically, or the things that money can buy. You want that thing, but then we're programmed to look around, see we don't have it, and say I'm broke, and to make us believe we don't have control over it. And that's why most people, once they become adults, make the same amount of money every single year, year over year, except for maybe a 2-3% pay increase bonus that's like supposed to be adjusted for the rate of inflation. Why is it most people make the same amount of money every single year over and over and over again? It's because the reticular activating system gets programmed and then constantly proves that reality to themselves. Once you start to decide that you're going to raise your income to meet your standard of living instead of shrinking your income, once you decide that you control your financial reality and that you will change it, your reticular activating system starts finding opportunities that were always there, right? You remember you're really good at massage. So you start doing that part-time and you have this special technique that helps people with their neck. So then you realize, oh man, I could actually patent this. I could actually train other masseuses. Oh, and hey, by the way, if I learn how to do online marketing, I could also teach masseuses how to get massage leads. And oh my gosh, I'm going to create my own specialized company that's going to teach this system. I'm going to train other masseuses. All of a sudden, I have this big, huge business. We all have $1 million ideas. Like J.K. Rowling was just this lady that had some crazy idea for Harry Potter. We all have you have $1 million idea inside of you, but you have to actually give energy or attention to that idea. You don't go, no, yeah, right, this is one of those silly positive thinking videos. So comment down below, I have $1 million ideas within me. Comment down below, I have $1 million ideas within me. And when that starts to happen, the reticular activating system gets programmed to create those opportunities into your life. All of a sudden, even if your current financial reality hasn't changed yet, your thinking's changed. Who you are has changed. And as Wayne Dyer said, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. You don't get what you want, I want money. No, you get what you are. And you've changed who you are. You've started to show up like a wealthy person. You've started to show up like a rich person. You've started to show up to your life like a millionaire instead of like a person making $40K a year. You're showing up like a person that makes $2 million a year. And when you show up, instead of react to the current limitations in your life, you find out that there are no limitations to which you do not self-impose. That you can double your income, you can raise your income to meet your standard of living, you can turn your annual income into your monthly income, but most people never even try it. So if you're down to do that thought experiment, take the rest of this year as a thought experiment. Whatever day it is you're watching this video, say, I'm going to do a thought experiment for the rest of this year, and I'm going to turn my annual income into my monthly income. Or I'm going to go from making $0 to $2,000 a month. I'm going to go from $2,000 to $5,000 a month. Here's my intention. Here's my vision. Here's what I'm creating. And do a thought experiment that you are not going to go back to lowering your standard of living to meet your income. You're going to change your income to meet your standard of living. And if you want help with that, when the old thought patterns come up, get my free success hypnosis. It's Jake's Hypnosis. It's right there down below in the description and pinned to the comments right there down below. It's my free success hypnosis to reprogram your subconscious mind. Because what happens is some of that old programming starts popping back up. And then we start to believe the thoughts in our head and we go back to the same old story and the same old situation and the same old deal. And that's why success hypnosis is so important. People go like, are you going to brainwash me? Well, we're all already brainwashed. You're brainwashed financially. You can find out how you've been brainwashed just by looking at the current results that you're getting in your life and knowing that you can change them. And it begins in the subconscious programming. So my free success hypnosis right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com right there down below. Wishing you an absolutely great day. If you enjoyed today's video, let me know in the comments. Let me know you're with me. Let me know where in the world you're coming from, what city, state, country. And if you enjoyed this video, let me know. These were the most common comments I was getting for people looking for help in videos. But if you have other things that you'd like me to talk about in videos, you can let me know right there down below. And I'll do my best to cover it in a future video episode. Hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification on this to send it out in the YouTube universe so more people see it. A lot of people saying that they're subscribed, but they aren't getting notifying for new videos. You got to make sure you hit the bell notification right there down below. And I will see you on the next video.